think this is going to be part 3 of the board's editorial roundtable, talking about the 10 Best Interiors competition. 41 nominees, and then just to cover the ground rules once again, we're covering fit and finish, we're looking at aesthetics, we're looking at comfort and value, a lot of different factors. So it's not just, how well does the nav system work. It's a lot of different factors that we look at. So we're going to talk about 3 vehicles. We're going to talk about the Toyota Highlander, the GMC Yukon Denali, and also the all-new Chevy Corvette. Do you want to kick us off on the Corvette discussion?
Sure. Yeah. 7th generation. What an improvement that is over any of the previous models. Some things that really stand out are the seats. These magnesium frame seats. They're lighter. They're well bolstered. They're exactly what you'd expect in something like a Corvette. We finally have that smaller radius steering wheel that we can really grip and we can really use. Couple pieces in there, that the carbon fiber trim in the tester that we had, that really pops out there in the daylight. But perhaps the biggest thing, at least for me, that stands out is the IP and all the color, and it's all digital. All the color that pops out on that, and all the different themes and configurations that you can do to fit the driving conditions and the amount of performance that you're asking from the vehicle.
When you talk about color, you're talking about color on the displays. Because there's no real color to speak of, like in the seats or on the instrument panel.
Right.
All you have is basically black with white contrast stitching. But yeah, you're right. When you look at the all the color that's coming off of the center display screen, and then the central gauges are so reconfigurable, and man, they do pop at nighttime. They're just so bright, and they almost look like they're actually three-dimensional.
And pretty easy to use with the steering wheel controls, and as far as other color in it goes, the one we did get was a little dark, on the dark side. I did drive a couple others at the media launch that had a little more pop to them. I remember some red and black that looked really good.
Yeah, you're right though about the structural integrity of the seats, because that was my complaint about the Vet for a long time, was when you would torque off of the steering wheel, you would just feel all this give in the seat, and it was just so floppy, and you felt like, man, that's just not cutting it. But now that seat is locked in there, and it feels really strong, and it's just well suited to to an engine that makes 460 horsepower. So
how's the back seat?
Back seat.
Hey, speaking of back seat, I actually put a guitar amp and a guitar in the back of that thing, and it was perfectly fine. It was pretty handy. But you had a lot of room in your vehicle. You were in the GMC Yukon Denali, big 7-passenger, 3 rows of seats.
Monster mobile. So this is the new generation Yukon, and we had a $71,000 Denali. $65,680 is the base price, and then we had a $4,000 touring package, and then an almost $1,000 paint job, white diamond tri-coat. So fully loaded. I see improvement, but I don't think this looks like a $70,000 interior. I know we've talked before about the GM truck interiors, and a lot of what's in this vehicle is from the trucks, and I personally hate that glossy fake wood. I think that just needs to die as soon as possible. I think that alone really cheapens the interior of the vehicle. From
what I recall of that trim, yes, when you see that faux wood trim in the pickup trucks, whether it's the GMC Sierra or the Chevy Silverado High Country, it doesn't really pop. It doesn't have that much depth or dimension to it. But then when I see the version in this Yukon Denali that we have, there's some splashes of color in that grain, and a lot more depth, and I think it's a lot more interesting, and the overall color scheme in that interior, it's mostly gray or pewter.
It's a lot of gray,
a couple of dark shades, and I think that wood trim does help to set it off. But you're right. The pricing, it's more like Escalade pricing, really, and of course the Escalade isn't going to launch yet.
Wait till we see that. It'll be another week or two before we see that. But the one thing I do like, you mentioned the pickups, and typically it seemed like GM would take that pickup interior, that dash, and just set it inside these large SUVs.
Yeah.
These are a little more nuanced, and you especially get this one little deck that goes underneath the base of the dash, and it's kind of raised up so that some of your switches and your dials are actually facing upright,
Right.
almost, which is pretty cool. And I also like the you know, I've got the kids in the back, and I got to keep them at the right temperature. So they've got little piano keys with a separate rear climate control, and that's very nice.
Yeah.
And I will say one thing on the entertainment system. They could use a little work on that.
This is a Blu-ray player. That's
Yes, this is a
overhead.
Blu-ray player, and perhaps that's why it moves so seemed to move so slowly. You know, it's as expensive as it's more expensive than the one that I have in my home, and the one in my home moves much more quickly. It's not very intuitive on some of the controls, and then the MyLink altogether. The more and more that I use MyLink, the slower it seems to work.
Very slow. I tried the voice control and to change a station, it took forever. I mean, it got me to where I wanted to go, and I could use sort of free speech. I didn't have to speak in a very regimented way,
Right.
but I could have changed the station like 4 times in the time it took to change it with voice. So
Yeah.
that was a little slow for me.
And then how about the folding seat functions in the GMC Yukon Denali?
That's cool.
I noticed, you know, raise the lift gate, you're standing at the back gate there, and you've got this console of buttons on the right side, and the 2 buttons to the far back will raise and lower the third row seats. And somebody on staff said, yeah, it's like raising and lowering a guillotine. I mean, it's so fast. Those back seats go up and down really quickly. And then there's another console of buttons that control the second row seats. So if you need to, you know, if you're in the back and you're unloading groceries or something, and somebody needs to get out from the third row, you can just fold that second row seat all by yourself from the back, and then press it a second time, and the second row seat folds yet again to make all sorts of room to get out the side. It's a pretty cool feature, I think.
And not just power, but also fold flat.
Yeah, exactly.
And
yeah.
GM has not had that. That's been their Achilles heel with these trucks.
Yep.
And we've done it. We've pulled those third row seats out, and it takes a lot to do it. It takes a lot of grunt to get those out of there. And now you don't have to worry about it.
All right. So before we talk about the Yukon, before I go on to the Highlander, what was the pricing on that Corvette then that we have? 70 something, right? 71, 960.
71, 53.
GM's going up market.
I guess.
They are.
Yeah,
They
wow.
are very much so. Very much so. And you talk to GM, and they say they will price for their vehicles where they can get price.
Yeah.
And this Yukon Denali, this Chevy Corvette, they can get price on
Yeah.
it. So they're
And of
going
course,
for
there is
it.
a Corvette that you can get for closer to 52, 53, I think, without the Z51 package and without the sport exhaust and all that. All right. So I'm going to move on to the Toyota Highlander, which is, again, 3-row CUV, and I was glad that we had it at the same time that we had the Yukon Denali. It's smaller than the Yukon Denali, certainly more attractively priced at $44,450, but leather, well-equipped, nav, basically everything that you need without all those power folding seats. But still,
Right.
the second row seats of the Highlander are very nice. There's one nice lever down near the sill plate. You throw it and the seat folds. You throw it again and it actually slides, so that the whole seat will slide, and it's really simple to get into that third row. And then even the third row is reasonably comfortable for a guy my size. I think it's a nice package. Toyota has stepped it up, I think, in terms of their interiors. Of course, the fit and finish is really good. The color scheme is kind of what you're seeing in a lot of these mainstream CUVs, kind of muted colors. I remember the Pathfinder that we had last year that was really nice, that made our list. It was all kind of, basically monochromatic. But what the Highlander has that's really cool is this, what I describe as a light trough. So from the center console right across to the passenger side door is like a 3-inch deep area, like basically a storage cubby that extends that whole way, so you could put change there or keys. Of course, it would collect with lots of dust and
Right.
wrappers and things like that. But anyway, at nighttime it lights up blue. This beautiful LED glowing. I've never seen anything like it, and it's really distinctive.
Yeah.
Very well done.
There's a lot of cool lighting we've seen this year. that
Absolutely.
vehicle, the Kia Soul, of course, with the lighted speakers, the Land Rover,
Yep.
or the Range Rover rather, with the welcome lighting.
Yep. The BMW and the X5, and there was a Mercedes model that we had some that also had really nice ambient lighting.
It's interesting how quickly actually ambient lighting has seemed to move from luxury down into these vehicles like the Kia Soul,
Right.
like the Highlander, where you typically wouldn't get that.
Right, right. So we're going to wrap this up now at this point, and we've got more cars to talk about in the days to come, so tune in.